Thank you all for coming out today. Thank you, Deacon. Thank you, Father. Thank you for the wonderful music. We are making Nanny very proud. So, as you know, I live out in California, and I was really looking forward to Nanny getting strong enough to come visit. But I talk about Grandma and Nanny often, and I wanted to share a note a coworker sent me. Thank you so much for telling me the wonderful stories of your Nanny. They were so lovely. She is an example for me to follow as a grandmother. I'm so inspired by the love you feel for her and how much she loved you. Keep her in your memories, and she will always be with you. My deepest sympathy and love go to you and your family. Lois Nanny Schumacher was born in 1929 and joined Clemmy in heaven on Sunday. Her origins go back to the River Valley, where she grew up in Aberdeen on an orchard where her parents, Richard and Ruth Wilson, are said to have the best produce stand for miles around. Nanny was 94 and outlived her brothers Dick and Don and her sister Patsy. She is mourned by many, especially her sister-in-law Frankie, her brother-in-law Stanley, her many nieces and nephews, and her other godchildren. She was a motherly figure and held many special relationships. We would be remiss not to mention the love she shared with Mary Beth Williams and Lisa Peltz. Nanny also enjoyed her neighbors so very much, and she will be missed by the angels we call her caregivers, especially Jay Washington. On behalf of the entire family, a special thank you to our parents, Jeff and Lois, for taking on the monumental task of caring for Nanny over the past 4 years. Day and night, through thick and thin, while navigating the global pandemic. As most of you know, it was rarely easy, but it was facilitated with love and determination to never give up, to use it or lose it, and to continue to collect experiences and make memories with all of us. All along, our 95-year-old Grandma Doris was with them. The four under one roof with 329 years of collective wisdom to draw from. The Golden Girls are now the Golden Girl Grandma. We only imagine how deep your relationship was with Nanny and are amazed how God navigated a path that put you two sisters in the same house to enjoy each other during these oh so very golden years. Nanny was hitched to her true love and a marriage lasting over 61 years. We all miss Papaw Clem. Those two loved to tease, especially Papaw, but you could literally see Nanny's love for Clem in the twinkle in her eye. As a fixture in the community, they were the coolest and most classic characters in the best parades that Ripley has ever seen. Riding in the Model T, often in matching clothes, donning their favorite color, which was red, white, and blue. Nanny loved her porch and took great pride in her flower beds. Thanks, Marty. Her decorations were famous and her desserts were legendary. Topping the list would be the peach and blackberry cobblers, pecan tarts, and many cherry cheesecakes. We will miss her dill pickles, deviled eggs, and eating Johnny Marzetti at her little kitchen table. And of course, picking from any number of candy dishes hidden in plain sight all over her home. She always made it a point to send you out with some goodies. Nanny cut hair professionally for over 7 years, mostly out of her basement, operating Lois's cut and curl. You know, you probably have one or two of those combs laying around. Lori especially loved running around Nanny's shop, and some of us enjoyed reading the tabloids she had laying around to catch up on the silly news and gossip. She worked well into her 90s and would say, "I have more clients, but they keep dying on me." On a serious note, we estimate that she gave well over 50 last hairdos to clients as a loving tribute, and fittingly, she would be the only one to get it just right. Imagine how that must have felt, truly her friends, and how Nanny lovingly provided a service she considered her duty, so that they could look their best as they were laid to rest by their loved ones. Now, I did my homework and found out that Anita was tasked with doing Nanny's hair. That pressure. Well, she got it just right, and Nanny's as beautiful as we'll remember, and she would approve of the cut and curl. Now, Nanny, used to pretend like she wasn't a big fan of those dogs, but we all know how much she loved Ponto, Mundy, my dog Yanni. For the record, well, she loved her dogs. Andy was telling me about visiting Nanny's house when Papa was very sick, and that he fully expected to leave his pit bull on the porch, but Nanny welcomed Dozer in with open arms, and Andy's last memory of Papa is with his 75-pound pit bull hopped up in Papa's lap, and Nanny letting it happen without batting an eye.
Speaking of Nanny's house, some of you might be wondering about those candy dishes and decorations. Lois Ann has vowed to honor Nanny's possessions and not expose her clutter to the world just yet, but if you know somebody that's looking for 529 upcycled food containers, wrapping paper from each of the last 48 years, and Chex Mix made in the last century, I might know a guy. Nanny had a few quips, as you know, and they got spicier the older she got, right, Dad and Uncle Drew? Cover your ears, Father. But when my future wife moved to Chicago, we were early in our careers, and Nanny kept hounding me. Make an honest woman out of that girl, she'd say. And one time she made sure I was in earshot when she said to Leah, "Why would he buy the cow if the milk's for free?" Maybe we can commiserate some of her zingers over lunch. Nanny and Papa were very generous with their love, their time, their talents, their home, and their land. I know how much North Pole means, especially to Joe, Andy, and I. It's been a sacred place for us to grow as men, to hone our skills by providing for our families. We developed the stewardship of that land and spent time with our elders, especially Charlie. I know for us and some of you in this room, that dirt is our most special place on earth. It's a place that we can go and collect ourselves and feel the presence of Papa and now Nanny too. Many core memories have been formed and many will follow, and hopefully more epic wiffle ball games and picnics to keep Nanny's memory alive. Lori and I are so grateful to Mom and Dad for hauling the Golden Girls to visit us in the Carolinas. Lots of great memories for our kids and our spouses, like the time Scott picked Nanny up in his arms and carried her to catch a boat that had seconds before they were about to leave them. And after seeing that, Grandma looked at Lori and said, "No fair." Sometimes tragedy brings unexpected gifts of true love and unique friendships, originally between Nanny and Papa, with Andy and Doris, and later to include our beloved and dearly missed Grandpa Quentin. It was a friendship unlike most people will ever know. Nanny shared her family with us. She and Papa adopted all of us. Nothing ever felt out of place. And we all gained of the one thing we all crave, love. Lori summed it up well. It was, and still is, one very special blessing. To the grands, how old were you when you first realized that kids didn't just score extra sets of grandparents? We all hit the lottery, didn't we? Family is many things, but also defined by love and action. We grandkids weren't around back then, but we all benefited from Nanny and Papa's influence on each of our parents as they stepped into their roles as godparents in the truest sense. My mother's namesake has been a part of her life since birth, and while they were always there, when the time came, they stepped up and helped raise our parents by supporting a young widowed mother through the unimaginable when her children were just 8, 5, and 2 years old. Their parental love, guidance, and their faith had an influence on Lois, Eddie, and Drew that certainly lives on through each of us, and we pass those attributes on to our next generations. They took them to Mass every Sunday. They never missed a family celebration or event. In later years, Andrea loved taking Nanny to Mass, and Nanny never wanted to share her with the Presbyterian table since they got to the diner just after the Catholics. Midnight Mass here at St. Michael's was always a big time for Nanny, who always was dressed to the nines and looking good in her red turtlenecks. And Christmas was always so special for all of us growing up. We would stay up late with the entire family, and the next morning we got that last round of gifts that Santa would drop off at Nanny's. Stacy's favorite was the giant stuffed Crayola, but you could count on old-fashioned gum or Tic Tacs in a mini stocking. Our mother wanted to underscore that Nanny took her role as godmother seriously, and her and her brothers knew that they could always count on her. When she lost her independence, it was time to return a measure of that love and care that Nanny had shared to us for so long. Our extended families learned many life lessons about caring for others these past years. as Aunt Lois had in her own life cared for so many people. Till the very end, our aunt, godmother, friend, our Nanny Lois, still enjoyed life's simple pleasures. Seeing the kids, a baby in her lap was like a turbo boost. Taking rides around Ripley, enjoying moments with her friends and her neighbors, and having lunch at the farm overlooking the fields. Now she can rest reunited with Clemmy in that great farm in the sky and share eternal peace with our Lord. In closing, we part with a line from the good book, handpicked and just right for Nanny. Well done, my good and faithful servant. Since you were faithful in small matters, I will give you great responsibilities. Come, share your master's joy.